Hey guys, this is Echo Sowers with a tutorial for MassiveSynth.com. First, if you're not subscribed to the YouTube channel, please sign up at youtube.com/ADSR Tuts. That's Tuts. So today's tutorial is going to be kind of a tip and trick, and also just kind of showing you guys something I discovered that I thought was interesting and worth sharing about Massive. So I don't know if any of you know this, but Massive has an option to load it up as a mono or stereo instrument. And a lot of you might be thinking, no brainer, this is kind of a duh moment, but I wanted to show you the difference between why you'd maybe want to load it up as a stereo track or a mono track in regards to bass sounds. Because I found that Massive reacts differently when you load certain sounds up in mono or stereo, and then even when you bounce those to audio to make a mono track. And I wanted to show you how you can kind of decide which one to load up. So what you see in front of you right now, this pretty looking plugin, is Vengeance Scope. It's a new plugin by Vengeance. And it's free if any of you guys own Vengeance plugins. It's just download it. But it is awesome. It's one of the coolest visualizer plugins I have seen. It looks really cool. It works really well. Haven't had any glitches with it or anything. But why I wanted to use this to show you what's going on is it has the waterfall representation. So you can see right now I'm talking and there's something going on this vertical line, which is the middle content. And then you have these little left and right lines here, which is your stereo field. You also see on this waterfall that everything's dancing and moving in the middle part of the frequency of the stereo field, and there's nothing going on the side. So if I pan my voice to the side, you'll start to see all of the audio moving. So that's why I wanted to use this plugin, because you can really see what's going on. I have a few different instances of Massive pulled up, and they're all using the same sound. Exact same preset. The only difference is some of them are mono and some of them are stereo. So let's look at this one first. This is a mono instance of kind of this type of sound that you would sidechain in an EDM production. All right, so as you can see, that is in mono. And I have that exact same preset pulled up here in stereo. So two things I noticed right off the bat is it's obviously in stereo. It's very wide. It actually has it's closer to a -1 phase, which is bad. It's going to mean it's going to create some phasing issues in your mix. And I also notice that if you listen to these back to back, there's a lot of high frequency content that is not there in the mono version. Here's the mono. Stereo. So like I said, the preset is the exact same. Just what I did was when I loaded up Massive, I went to Native Instruments, Massive, and I selected mono for one, and I selected stereo for this one. And you can see that there's a difference in sound. So that's an interesting thing. And you would think that it would keep it the same, and I was kind of looking into maybe why it's not the same. And the reason for this is that there are some stereo effects happening on this patch in the stereo version. There is a dimension expander, and there's this phaser. And this phaser is what's making this sound, this particular bass, bright. Do you hear that? And that's possibly because of the routing and how it's going from FX1, FX2 into the EQ. So if I open up this mono version, you'll see that the phaser is still on, but phaser by a norm is typically a stereo type effect. So is the dimension expander. So these effects are having minimal effect on the sound, as opposed in the stereo version, they're really changing the sound. So what I did was, I wanted to see what would happen. I bounced this stereo version to audio, and I changed my input from stereo to mono, so it's a mono track now. And you can see if I pull up scope right now, this is a true mono. There's no side content, right? But that high frequency content's back. So what you just heard right here, this is the mono of Massive as a plugin. And here's the mono bounce of the audio of a stereo. So for that bass, if you wanted that high frequency content in, I would actually load up Massive as a stereo plugin and bounce it to audio and convert it to mono. That way you get the full range of the sound. Well, let's look at another bass patch real quick, because this is where it gets kind of interesting. So I have a deep house sound pulled up. So that's mono, and here it is in stereo. Two things I noticed right off the bat with this sound. It's punchier. The mono version's punchier. And everything, like I said, is the same. And what I wanted to show you, which was kind of cool with this, is you might think, okay, why would I have to actually load up Massive in mono? Why couldn't I just open up Massive, figure out what the heck is making it sound to stereo, and actually just kind of turn it down? So if this has 4 voices of unisono, and let's say pitch, cutoff, and pan position. That's the stereo version of that. And now let's look at the mono version. Let's give it the same amount of unisono, pitch, cutoff, pan position, right? Let's turn that off. Now this is mono. So to my ear, it makes it a little richer, a little bit deeper. I don't know what's going on in Massive's code when you're turning off these voicings and you're turning down the unisono counts and you're turning down the pan position when you have a mono instance load up, but there is a slight effect with the sound. So this doesn't have a lot of stereo effects. It doesn't have phaser, it doesn't have dimension expander. It has delay and it has reverb, but not any true stereo widening effects like that other bass had. So when I bounced this to audio, I was expecting it to be more true to the mono sound in Massive. And it was. There's still something a little bit brighter about the mono that I hear in Massive than in the audio. And that could just be Logic's algorithm to bouncing. But anyway, if you have a mix that has a lot of bass tracks, it's an EDM dubstep thing, and you want to try to, if you had difficulty clearing out space for your mix and your low frequency content, try changing some of your instances of Massive or any synth that allows you, a lot of them will, to mono for your bass sounds. And if you're using Massive, try bouncing some out to audio and seeing how it reacts. Typically what I found was if your Massive bass patch has a lot of stereo widening effects on, like phaser, chorus, anything like that, dimension expander, it works better to bounce it to audio and then render that to mono as opposed to just opening up Massive inside of your DAW as a mono plugin. All right, guys, so that sums up this tutorial. If you guys have any questions or comments, let me know below, and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. And if you have not checked out MassiveSynth.com, head on over there. Tons of cool things Massive related. As always, thank you for watching. I'll see you next time.